Oh, sorry about that, guys. Apparently, my microphone, when I told it to enable it, it didn't fucking enable it because shit got squirrely today. I'd also like to apologize about the lighting. Software is being stupid. Um, all my lighting's controlled by Wi-Fi, and for some reason, uh, it's not recognizing anything. So here I am. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, but you didn't come here to listen to my technical glitches or any of that shit, so I'm not even going to worry about it. Uh, let's see. Wonder who all else is out there, out and about in the wide, wide world of the internet. Uh, oh man, what's everyone going on? What's happening? Uh, let's see what we can do here. Trying to figure out some stuff here because there's a lot of cool shit that you can do. Let's get it better. Nice. Let's design it a little bit. Hoy, hoy, hoy. Trying to figure out some stuff here, guys. Please bear with me. Oh man, it's gonna be a quiet night. I can tell. That's fine. Oh. Got a lot coming up. Not really don't have anything lined up to talk because I kind of want to. I like it better interacting with you guys. Uh, unfortunately, we all know how that goes. Some folks are really talkative. Some folks aren't. It's all good. It's all fine. I'm down with it. Um, oh, I'm groaning a lot. Apparently, I'm getting old. Cut me some slack, guys. Who all is joining me today? That's what I want to know. That's the big question. That's the question everybody on the internet is asking. Who is here today? Is it you? Is it me? Am I rambling? Probably. It's been a weird day after a very weird week. Sorry, guys. Oh, let me see. For the record, I'm making a lot of noise I wouldn't normally make just goofing around on the internet because I feel it's important that people know I'm thinking of them, even if I'm just kind of killing time by surfing the internet. I could probably do the presentation thing, but I don't think anybody's really going to give a shit about me looking at woodworking bullshit. Then again, it's no sign that anybody actually gives a shit about me, just sitting here rambling. So, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do it. Let's do a screen share and let's scroll Twitter because why not? Let's see. Ooh. Gomer sent an interview request for more high-profile former Biden admin officials for investigation. I mean, Jesus Christ, how is it none of them could have seen it when literally the entire country saw it? You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, how could they have seen nothing? Of course they saw something, right? They had to. But they're not interested in admitting they were hiding shit. And just like that, I can't actually find X anymore. Where did X go? All right, I got to do something here. There we go. All right. Let's see. Ian Carroll's been hiding for days, has still yet to address that he said we were going to World War III for Jews, only for Trump to save the world and bring a ceasefire. I mean, honestly, a lot of people were doing the whole, oh no, it's going to be the, who the fuck is this? Okay, when somebody who's got pronouns in their bio, this has got to be a spammer. All right, this is somebody who actually follows me. Thank God. But everyone was going on. I was like, oh my God, this is starting World War III. And it's not. It's fucking not. World War III may get triggered at some point in the future, but it ain't over that shit. Let's see. The fucking Babylon Bee, man. I gotta read this shit. Let's see. In Powerful Dissent. Seth, leave me the fuck alone. Powerful Dissent. Ketanji Brown Jackson simply writes Wakanda forever. Following U.S. Supreme Court's latest ruling in favor of President Trump, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson penned a scathing rebuke in a dissenting opinion where she simply wrote Wakanda forever. In a 6-3 ruling, the court limited the ability of federal judges to file nationwide injunctions against executive orders, prompting Justice Jackson to defiantly quote Black Panther. Justice Jackson, with whom Justice Kagan and Justice Sotomayor joined dissenting, Wakanda forever. I mean, this is a joke, but I sincerely would love a Second Amendment issue, a Second Amendment opinion that just read, what part of shall not be infringed do you fuckheads not understand? That's what I'd love to see. Dissenting opinion raised eyebrows from conservative justices who reportedly expected their liberal colleagues to at least have some kind of argument based on legal precedent, which is funny because what they actually got made even less sense than Wakanda Forever. But it's like they just want to rule against Trump regardless of law, said Associate Justice Brett Kavanaugh. But she seemed really proud of her Wakanda Forever opinion. Weird. Top legal analysts admit they were also perplexed by the dissenting opinion, saying it used obscure legalese they could not understand. No one knows what that means, said lawyer Alan Dershowitz. Good thing dissenting opinions don't really matter. It wasn't all that impressed with Black Panther, to be honest. At publishing time, Justice Jackson amended her dissenting opinion to include an exclamation mark so everyone would know how adamant she was. That was freaking great. Oh my God, that was amazing. Oh man. Let's see. Oh, Jeff Bezos married an astronaut. Yeah, this one's an important story, guys. So this Washington Post reporter that won a Pulitzer for his coverage of Roy Moore, badgering him for supposedly having a relationship that was inappropriate, just got arrested for CP. That's right. It's funny how often these people who delve into this stuff and go after anyone on the right for remotely anything minor. I don't remember what Roy Moore's deal was. Let me look at something real here. Let's see. Section was kind of. Keep in mind that Roy Moore was basically railroaded. I mean, he was just dragged through the mud. In 2022, he got $8.2 million from a jury from Alliston, Alabama, in a defamation lawsuit against the Demoline Super PAC. Right. In other words, he won a defamation lawsuit as a public official. And, this was like this huge thing. This reporter got a Pulitzer for stirring up this shit. Did it in just such a way that, it's going to be difficult to prove. But, he's the one who kind of kicked that shit off. And he got arrested for CP. That's freaking hilarious. Right? World War III's not happening. He's got that going for him. Oh. Let's see. Yeah. Thing doesn't have a great Liberty score. That's not good. But I mean, honestly, what the thing with Thune and what I'm he could have overridden the Senate parliamentarian, and now we're not getting the Short Act. We're not getting the Hearing Protection Act unless we do something else. It's stupid. It is absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason not to. There's no reason we should be dealing with this shit. Let's see this one. Is this like a person that's famous or something? Oh, okay. It's a bunch of people playing shit that, became big hits later. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's kind of dope. Um, yeah, I respect it. Yeah, I've got a lot of bullshit on my feed, guys. Let's see. Megan 2.0 is a horror sequel with no horror. I never saw the first one, so yeah, absolutely. I'm this right here. How the heck are you going to look at a tax stamp and then say you can't repeal a tax versus budget reconciliation? We'd ask the Senate parliamentarian to make it make sense, but we all know this is just another partisan hack taking advantage of the system. Exactly. One of the biggest problems that we have in this country is the fact that Democrats don't have any respect for the system. Or more accurately, they don't have any respect for any nonpartisan aspect of the system. They like the system, but they want to take that system and twist it. They want to actively become that system, take charge of it, and manipulate it to their own ends. Case in point, the Senate parliamentarian. There is no world where that isn't a fucking tax. It has been described as a tax from the get-go, right? That's the only reason the registration even exists, is because you have to prove you paid the tax. They have to know you paid for the tax. Remove the tax, you remove the need for registration, all that other stuff. But it's a fucking tax. It's a tax. And this bullshit being corrupted is infuriating because the parliamentarian is not even. Let's see, I'm trying to find the text. The absolute text. Okay. All right, so this is the text. Hey, what do you know? The word parliamentarian ain't fucking here. It ain't here. Why is it not here? Because it's not a constitutional role. It has no official authority under the United States Constitution to say yes or fucking no. It doesn't have it. I'm fucking pissed. I knew I was going to talk about this at some today. I knew it. I knew it was going to come up. I was going to bring it up. And I was probably going to lose my shit a little bit, but I didn't expect to lose it this much because there's no way an unelected person who is not even empowered by the Constitution should get a say over legislation that has been passed by one chamber of Congress under consideration from the other chamber and just go, nope, can't have it. Fuck that. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna lose my fucking blood pressure. I don't even have a blood pressure problem. That's the funny thing. I'm about to fucking lose it, and I don't have blood pressure issues. But I'm thinking I'm going to stroke out over this shit. Jesus Christ. Gillibrand's trying to rein in Mamdani. Let's see what we got. Twitchy's fucking great if you never go over here, dude. Sam here. She's hilarious. Let's see. Have we mentioned Democrats in trouble because they are big time? Yes, we know we've mentioned it daily for months now, but it's still fun to write it. That's fair. It really is. Let's see. Gillibrand rips NYC mayor hopeful. Zohran Mamdani's controversial Intifada comments and says he should denounce it. I mean, it's rare. I actually agree with Gillibrand on something. But the difference is, I know it's not going to happen. Gillibrand's too fucking retarded to get it. Don't you realize, doesn't she realize anti-Semitism is one of the reasons they voted for him? Where's she been? Let's see. Oh, dude, they are fucking tearing her to shreds. Oh my God. Let's see. Holy shit. Oh my God. The Dems are fucking losing their shit over Gillibrand. That is fucking amazing. That is freaking amazing. Oh, dude. That is great. That is freaking great. Diddy was portrayed in his lawyer's closing argument on Friday as the victim of overzealous prosecution that tried to turn the recreational use of drugs into swinger lifestyle into racketeering conspiracy that could put the music, whatever. I don't care. Look, Diddy's a freak. And some of the shit that's come up with Diddy, dude, I didn't like the guy before, but good God, I thought he'd at least learn to keep his nose clean. Oh, that's never getting old. It's never getting old, guys. What do we got? Seriously, if you guys want me to look at something, I know I'm looking at Twitter, but I'm flipping back to the studio. I can see chat still. So give me some chat. I want to know I'm loved. I need to know I'm loved. Can we? Please. Oh, man. Oh, my God. David Hogg is doing the whole, it's dangerously. They got an assault weapon, but it's not banned, but it's not enough. Yeah, never let them say they're not coming for your guns because they fucking are. All right. Yeah, you're watching me tweet. Yes, I use Grammarly because I'm a fucking retard. So here's how it's going to go today, guys. I'm going to put this in chat. Oh, shit. Sorry, Sarah. I don't know what the hell happened here. I now see the chat. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Jesus, this thing always turns off live chat. Sarah, I'm very sorry. I am so fucking sorry. So shit. I feel fucking stupid now. Yeah, apparently got kicked over on my end. What happens is the chat has three things. It's got all donation private. I don't know how, but I got over to private. Nobody was private messaging me. I think this is just for people who are actually in the studio. So I am very, very sorry. Just in case you're not here anymore. Hit you up on Discord. Dude, I've been sitting here going, why is nobody talking? Oh my God. So yeah, no, I couldn't see comments. I can now. God, I feel like an idiot. You know when I just said I was a retard? This is the moment. This is the moment everyone can see. Okay. So Sarah is still here, thank God. So about my week, because Sarah said, tell me about your week. Your week. Let's see. My wife, Monday night, she gets up, middle of the night, needs to go pee. No big deal. We have an attached bathroom. It's a master. That's how it works these days. She's walking through, just like she has a million times. Takes a step in a spot that she's probably stepped in at least 100,000 times, if not a million times. And she freaking felt this pop in her foot. And so all week long, she's been terrified that she broke her foot. Didn't really want to go. Didn't really want to go to the doctor by herself. And I've been slammed most of the week. So I couldn't really take the time out to go. And then this morning I had things planned out. We were going to go to the doctor. I get up, go about my day like I need to. And I'm like, yeah, she had messaged me on Facebook Messenger after I went to bed last night. She's like, hey, let me know what time we can go to the doctor. I'm like, look, I'm going to wrap up early. After I get done with work, just whenever works for you. She gets up, messages me, even though she walks right by the office. My bedroom is attached to the office. But instead of popping her head in here, she goes into the living room, which is also attached. We have 3 doors in our master bedroom. But she messaged me, is like, yeah, we're probably not going to have to do that. I'll tell you in a bit. I read that and went, oh, hell no. Well, apparently last night she was stretching her foot, like, trying to like stretch out in case there was a muscle thing or whatever that was causing the problem. And she felt another pop. And it felt a little better. Well, then she gets up this morning and it feels a whole lot better. She's not healed, but she feels a whole lot better. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? All this shit. And now she just stretched her foot a little bit and it popped. It was all good. Pink Floyd song. Did I miss something? No, I don't think I got a Pink Floyd song. Which sucks because I like Pink Floyd songs. Yeah. Sorry, my throat got dry real quick there. Yeah, we all have our moments. Anyone who's watching, not paying attention, that's probably in response to me saying, talking about being a retard. Um, no, yeah, I don't think so. Because everything looked fine. She had no swelling. We don't know what the problem was. Not a clue. Um, but we were, pretty sure that this, would be something we could deal with. Or it was like, we were pretty sure we'd have to go to the hospital. She was scared it was broken. I knew it wasn't broken, but oh no, I can't say I knew I wasn't broken. I thought maybe it was like a hairline fracture. It wasn't anything severe, but didn't nothing that looked dislocated. I mean, I kind of, felt the area. Everything felt like it should, which is something she can never do with me because I can't handle my feet being touched. Um, but yeah, it was nothing. Oh shit! I was scrolling so fast, uh, that I missed that. Scroll back up and saw. Yeah, I wasn't with it. Just I wasn't really with it. My bad. But I love that song for the record. Yeah, just for the record, I love that song. I am glad to see this because Jesus Christ, this whole thing in New Jersey is a bunch of bullshit. Um, let's see what else we got. I'm going to reshare about the live stream because sometimes people don't get to see it, and I want an audience. You know, you could say that, but the truth is that song's kind of timeless. My son loves that song, and he's only 24. Um, so I won't say she isn't in pain anymore, because for one thing, she still has some pain. For another, she's married to me. That's pain. That's I love her. She's actually volunteered to come in and mod the chat for me, which is great. But she she's in pain because she lives with me, and I am not an easy person to be married to. Um, oh shit, I should have at least scrolled up to here for that one because this is me being happy right now. Uh, uh, I'm just groaning like crazy. Jeez, it's important to me to at least make noise because I'm on camera. And I don't want to be like, some streamers who I will definitely keep you in mind for that too, because I mean you're here most of the time anyways. Uh and she said she'll do it, but she's not interested in the topic, which in a way I guess makes it easier to mod chat. But the fact of the matter is I would love to get to the point where I need a few mods. So I will definitely keep that in mind. Um See, Sarah, that's because you're raising your kids right. Right? That's the way you do it. Uh my kid grew up listening to whatever we were playing, and then it was kind of funny one time when he was in the shower. He likes to sing in the shower, and he starts singing Poison. He's singing "Ain't Looking for Nothing But a Good Time," and my Gen X ass was just giddy, absolutely freaking giddy. Um, let's see, let's Uh, yeah, your kids are super cool. They've at least got good taste in music. You know, um, that's the trick about kids. They need good taste in music. And I think it's kind of telling how much of our kids' generation are embracing so many things from our generation and our ways of thinking and our ways of viewing the world. There's not the same generational hostility between our generation and our kids' generations. We tend to it's the Gen Z is kind of like Gen X 2.0 in a lot of ways. They've got their own unique things going on. Don't get me wrong, but um, but oh my God, me and Bobby McGee. My mom was a huge Janice fan, and so I learned about that song through her. Um, yeah, my son's libertarian. He's really pretty libertarian on most things. He just doesn't give a shit what you do. Just the moment you start trying to tell him how he has to conduct himself, how he has to live his life, all that stuff, then you got a problem. He's not gonna play nice with that. Um, and that's their generation. It's like the Democrats are going as far to the left as they can, and they're kind of forgetting that this upcoming generation just doesn't really agree with them. And that's not going to hold up well for them in the long run. Uh, but they're going to, let's be perfectly honest, if they were smart, they wouldn't be Democrats. Right? Oh. I have the feeling it's going to be a quiet night tonight. Ugh. I almost didn't do a live stream tonight. I was feeling like crap earlier. Um, yeah, they are, and they've been doing it for a while. Let's look at the priorities for the Biden administration. For 4 years, they catered to the absolute fringe and doing everything they could to alienate the majority of people. All right, because the majority of people did not, uh, the majority of people didn't really agree with what the hell he's doing. And so, but he kept doing it. And then what happens in 2024? Trump trounces Harris. You take a bad Democrat candidate, 4 years of catering to the absolute fringe. There is also the audit pit. That's also a thing. And for the reason, part of the reason for the delay is there's probably a delay in the message getting to me. But what you're seeing is at least a few seconds after I say something. So there's a delay there too. Fire department dinner's legit. At least he's not out of barn burning this time. He's not putting out a barn fire. Because that's what he told me he was doing last time. And I'm like, considering what happens with barn fires, I respect that. That's a perfectly valid reason to not be here. And as a woodworker, I hate to see good wood go to waste. And then when you catch the barn on fire, well, it's a waste of good wood. That's a double waste of good wood. Um, I love that YouTube sends me an email to tell me I'm live on YouTube. Like, I'm fucking aware. I'm the one who actually said, "Hey, let's go live." Oh, YouTube. How are you the biggest site for this shit on the planet and you do such retarded stuff? Seriously. Though realistically, if that was the most retarded thing they did, I really wouldn't give a shit. Honestly, I would not care. But they keep doing other retarded stuff. And those of us who are trying to make it on YouTube have to deal with it. And even though I'm using Rumble right now, the truth is that being the biggest name on Rumble is a little like being the smartest kid in the special ed class. Um, I'm going to check a few things here. Sorry about my ADHD. It means I'm gonna always be bouncing around during live streams. Um, let's see, find something here. What do we got? Find something that's relevant. Jack Mandeville's got one. Nosy Karen started the mafia. He's not wrong. I don't need to watch the video to know why. He's not wrong. Um, but he most definitely um, he most definitely is right that they started the mob. Not directly, but it does not matter. Let's see. Been watching so much woodworking shit lately that now my feed is all woodworking shit. Oh man, such is life. Yeah, the censorship is a thing. Um, I did a video yesterday that was really important. That I am absolutely desperate to do well, and YouTube seems to have mostly throttled it. Probably not all YouTube, but at least parts of it. I like Vance. I like Vance a lot. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's got the no bullshit approach that worked with Trump. That, that's how Trump won, was just basically, I'm not screwing around and I'm not playing nice. And he got elected the first time and was like, all right, I'm going to play within the rules mostly. I'm going to try to do things the right way and blah, blah, blah. And they tried to fuck him for it. So this time around, he's not doing that. He's just going scorched earth. And Vance is watching that and he's already leaning that way. Frankly, Margaret, I don't care. Or I don't care, Margaret, however way you phrase it. He's sitting there being interviewed, and the interviewer says, well, this is blah, blah, blah. And he literally just says, I don't give a shit. That's freaking amazing. That is a baller move that we kind of need right now. I don't like that we need it. Okay, I'm not like super into the idea of confrontation in this stuff. But I'm sick of the media thinking they can just do whatever the hell they want and nobody's going to be, that anyone on the right is just going to be too afraid to challenge them. Vance will keep that up. Yeah. I do love the idea of having the E4 Mafia in the Oval Office. That's, as E4 Mafia myself, I'm down. Um, but you know, it's Vance brings that attitude and swagger to the office, but he does it in a different way. And I think part of what rubs a lot of people wrong with Trump is that he does it in that New York, business tough guy vibe. And so some people who may like Trump's policies don't like him. And I think that's part of why. Vance is different. Vance didn't come up the same way. I know Vance's childhood. I read that book before he was ever running for office. And, it's, he came up a different way. And that hillbilly attitude, that hillbilly swagger resonates with a lot of blue collar people, because the difference between a hillbilly and a redneck, geography. The rednecks I grew up around would be hillbillies if we lived in the hills. And, the country boys are basically just the redneck. Most of the people in this country don't identify with city elites. They actually identify as country, small town people in a lot of ways. Or they blue, even if they are city folks, they're blue collar. Well, a country boy from rural Alabama has a lot more in common lifestyle wise with the with the auto mechanic in New York City, and vice versa. Vance can reach that in a way that a lot of people can't, and I like that. It doesn't mean he's going to win. There's a lot more to it, but it gives him a really good leg up. And on behalf of the E4 Mafia, Sarah, thank you. We in the E4 Mafia don't exist. The E4 Mafia doesn't actually exist. If it did exist, I wasn't part of it. No, not at all. I wasn't one of the guys that was just tasked to make shit happen. My crow on my left arm back in the day meant absolutely nothing. No, didn't mean anything. But yeah, the Mafia. I'm not actually watching any videos. I'm gonna take this off. It's starting to annoy me. But yeah, the E4 Mafia being in the Oval Office tickles me to no end. I cannot explain to you how hilarious I find this shit. Hey, backwoods is backwoods. And it doesn't really matter where you work now. If you're backwoods, you're still backwoods. You can be a freaking doctor, you can be a lawyer. But if you're a redneck who hunts and fishes and, did construction and working as a mechanic or, any of that kind of stuff, it kind of stays with you. I work in an office. I work right here. I work from my home office. But I'm still the same kid that went to a high school where killing or shooting a deer and having to track it was an excused absence. It's the same school where a lot of my classmates had guns in the back of their trucks because they had been in the woods right before class. My hunting land was too far away for me to make that trip. Damn it. Backwoods is backwoods. It doesn't matter if you're on a hill somewhere. If you're, rural flatland Midwest, we're all the same deep down inside in that regard. The city folks who think they're better than everybody else. Yeah. Good old boy with the girl version. You're Daisy Duke? Tell them my age there, okay? Just a good old boys. Never meaning no harm. Yeah, apparently Cletus from Dukes of Hazzard died. That sucks. We're losing them. We're losing the cast of the Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, same here. And you know what we didn't have? School shootings. Never happened. Yeah, we had guns in high school. They were everybody knew where to get a gun in high school because they weren't even like stashed under the seat. They were in actual gun racks. We had gun racks in our trucks that we would put our guns in and leave them. Yeah. So do I, but probably in a slightly different way. Just gonna guess. Love Daisy Duke. Loved her Jeep. A lot of people forget that was her vehicle. She had a Jeep Wrangler, or CJ5. That style of Jeep. Yeah, I love the Dukes of Hazzard, man. I even watched that freaking movie that was really kind of not the Dukes of Hazzard. And I still sort of liked it because they found a way to put the Confederate flag on the General Lee. And I didn't think they'd actually go that far. But they did. And they made a joke about it, so I give them credit for that. Yep, gun racks were in the back window. You could just have it. It was right here. Yeah, we kept loaded firearms right next to our head. And nothing happened. I honest to God, I kind of wish somebody had fucked around and tried some shit at our school just to see everyone run out to their trucks, get their guns, come back, and light the son of a bitch up. Yeah, it sucked. It was not the Dukes of Hazzard. I give them credit for putting the flag on there. All right. I will say one funny thing about that movie was Jessica Simpson doing These Boots Are Made for Walking. And I told my son that he needed to watch it on YouTube. And he's, sitting there, scrolling. He's like, "Did you find the video?" He's like, "Yeah, it's coming up now." And I'm like, "Yeah, more ways than one, son. In more ways than one." Yes. That's the General Lee. I mean, I get. All right, look, I'm from the South. I was a Civil War reenactor. I grew up around people who were actually pretty pro-Confederacy in a lot of ways. They did the whole "this is about states' rights" things. Nobody ever flew that flag promoting racism around me. I will say that in a context like that, you take that flag off the General Lee, it's not the Dukes of Hazzard. It's just not the Dukes of Hazzard. I could probably figure out a way to do it if I had to. I don't want to. I don't. But no, it's not a race thing. If the argument is, hey, this is a flag for a country that was in rebellion to the United States, that's a fair criticism. That's actually a very fair criticism if you want to make that argument. But it's not what that flag was actually about. And especially in that context. All right, sorry, not buying it. Not playing that game. But alas. Let's see. Sorry, I just saw something. Apparently, Trump, after Khamenei started talking a bunch of shit, Trump was like, "No, I'm going to try to get some sanctions eased on Iran, but nah, fuck that. I'm down with that." Because it's hilarious how he keeps talking about victory. Like, Jesus Christ, you got your butt whooped like you paid extra for it. You didn't win shit. I mean, no, not at the moment. I've just been kind of slammed. There's still a lot of schools out there, and I've got a list going of stories and reports that I've come across where this is, these are a lot of these are stuff that's already been public. It's not anything new. I'm just like, these are the other people who got caught, basically. And it's insane that I'm not having that much trouble finding them in any state. Because, yeah, it's a thing. It's a systemic issue. And, it's like Rich blew the whistle on Buffalo. That's what he was seeing directly. But he knows this isn't just Buffalo. He probably knew it before, well before frickin' whistle got blown. Yeah. Well, see, here's the problem. Every time it happens, it's treated like an isolated incident. And so some people get their wrists slapped. People might lose their job. But I've talked to a teacher in Pennsylvania who's not that far from, some of the Buffalo stuff. And what she was telling me was like what they routinely do is they just, send these people on their merry way with a non-disclosure kind of thing signed up, not so that the other person can't badmouth the school system, but so that no one in the school system has to say anything negative about why those people are gone. So what happens is these people get shuffled off. Even a lot of the abusers, right? Even the people, who did really disgusting shit as a teacher get shuffled off to other schools. It's called passing the trash. They even have it's so common. They have a fucking term for it. Right. But they pass the trash and it goes to this other, and they pretend, okay, now the problem's gone. We've gotten rid of those people who are responsible. We're good. But it's systemic issues. It goes everywhere. These people are all over the place. There is a school that Rich thought did everything right who turned out not to have. And I'm pretty sure I know which school it is. Because I have reason to believe he and I talked about that school doing everything right. I've never asked Rich to confirm or deny that. I do not want him to. But it's a thing. And it's like I say, it's happening between that and teachers who are having, committing sexual misconduct with their students. That too is being treated like these isolated things, but it happens all over the place. The most liberal definition, and I use liberal in a non, political sense necessarily, but the most liberal definition of somebody being impacted by a school shooting compared to somebody directly impacted by sexual misconduct by a teacher. A student is 200 times more likely to be the victim of sexual misconduct than to even be impacted by a school shooting. That includes being somewhere completely different in the school and just hearing the shot. It is bonkers that it's more common for the sexual misconduct and nobody's doing shit about it. I have not talked to Rich about getting me on unsub. I'm not comfortable doing that. I probably hurt. It probably hurts me a little bit on that front, but I don't feel comfortable at this point in our acquaintanceship to ask him to do something like that for me. You guys pestering them about having me on would do a lot more good because I'm sure they respect what I've tried to do, and they love that I'm fighting this fight with them. Because I've talked to Rich, I've talked to Nick. They love it. They're happy to see it. But I can't come out and go, hey, how about getting me on unsub? I'm not good at that. It feels I can't do it. Be great, great for my career, on YouTube if I was, but right now I am not there. I'm not in a place that I've even feel comfortable considering asking. I would appreciate it. I would definitely appreciate it. I'm in the Pepperbox Discord too. I'm just under Tank there. But yeah, if you do that and can rally up the troops for that, I would, if they called me up and said, hey, Richard Nick called me up and said, hey, come on to Texas, I'm there. Right? I fit in with everyone except Brandon. He outranks all of us. Holy shit. Of course, Brandon's special. It's the hair. It really is. The hair is glorious. I'm jealous. You see why? It's going to be hilarious if Brandon ever goes bald. It's just going to be so fucking funny. Anybody else going bald, not a big deal. Not even Donut, who's Brandon's twin brother. Did y'all see that? I can't remember who it was. The gang does the Army's 250th, or no, it was the gang does the Army's birthday, and they have footage of them being introduced or introducing themselves to on an Army interview. And Donut literally introduces himself as Brandon Herrera. That shit was funny as fuck. Nobody could tell the difference, especially because they're usually wearing the same clothes. Holy shit, those two. And they swear it's not on purpose. That's right. Colonel General Commandant Herrera, thank you for your service, sir. Thank you for your service. I would love to get a chance to hang out with those guys. I really do. Um, I really would. They seem like such awesome guys, uh, and genuine. You know, they. I've gotten to talk to a couple of them. You know, of course, it I can only imagine what they're like in person. Um, the way they bust each other's balls left and right is absolutely amazing. Those are guys. That's what guy friendships look like. That's right. Colonel General Commandant Herrera, we stand with you, sir. Proudly. I was a little disappointed that during the podcast when they called for the talked about the Medal of Honor recipients, Brandon wasn't up there because he's got 3. I mean, come on, man. Um, those guys just look like so much fun. Seriously, part of the reason I watch Unsub isn't just because they these are some of my favorite creators. It's their dynamic together is so much fun. Kind of like kind of consensual, which is funny. Half the same people, and the dynamic is very different, but not alien. Does that make any sense? It was like, you get the vibe. The vibe is different because the parties are different, but it still segues in a little bit. If I had to do a knock, it's just the fact that whatever they've got going on bleeds over into the other stuff they're doing. So when they start talking about what they've got going on, they're sharing some of the same stories that you hear the same story a couple of times. If that's the worst thing I ever encounter, and that's nitpicky. So that's part of why I love these guys. The fact that they're just my kind of people makes it even better. For the record, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go till 9 tonight, guys. Been a weird, been a weird day. Had some blood sugar issues earlier and stuff like that, and wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do a live stream today, which would have sucked because I hadn't done one since last Friday. Buddy might send me something with AI with Yetis in it, and I'm going to watch it later and send it to my lovely son, who his nickname is Yeti. I do watch Man vs. Morning. Of the 3, it's probably my least favorite, which isn't a criticism. It's still fun. They're still kind of getting their footing on that, though. I'm going to be interested to see where they land. When they really kind of hit their stream. A lot of times it really depends on who they have on as a guest right now as to how entertaining the show is really going to be. Because I don't think, uh, like Tackett and the Sandalorian, love that name by the way, and Jake really have that kind of the right kind of experience as a group yet. But I think that's going to come along really, really well. I'm trying. It was luckily the blood sugar thing was easy to fix. I just popped a peppermint, laid down for a little bit, let that take hold, and then got something to eat, and we're good to go. But yeah, it wasn't fun. And I don't understand where it came from because it shouldn't have been a problem. For the record, that's why I'm not drinking right now. I'd love to have a good bourbon, but I just cannot risk it as it stands. Can't do it. I've found that alcohol means I'm more likely to have a blood sugar issue, and so I just don't risk it. Oh, as for Man versus Morning, I have not watched the latest episode. Because it comes out on Thursday, but it comes out late enough that I usually can't finish it before I'm calling it a night. Because I get up stupid early in the morning and then I'm doing work stuff. So it's like I usually have to stretch it out over like 12 hours for an hour and a half podcast. And then you've got the unsubscribe, which is always going to take precedence for me. Kind of consensual is going to be like right there. And so I haven't gotten to this one yet. Yeah. And the funny thing with the guys, on the Man versus Morning guys, in my opinion, is that when they get their stride, who they have on is going to matter less. Because, I mean, look at the unsub. It doesn't matter who they have on. It's going to be a great show. They had freaking Brandon's grandmother on, and it was an amazing show. I mean, they did an amazing thing because those guys know how to do that. They've got those retention beats. They're such experienced YouTubers that they bring this into the podcast world, and it works really well. On Man versus Morning, they don't have that yet. When they get that, it's going to be an amazing show. I absolutely believe it. Learning more about Jake has been really cool because he's a video guy, despite being a lawyer. I didn't even know who Tackett was before the show. So that's, and the way they dog on him every time he starts to go into the conspiracy theories is hilarious. But yeah, it was yeah, I think they're going to come along. Oh, is that where the dude was on Naked and Afraid? Okay. It's funny. I've got a buddy of mine. He's a blacksmith YouTuber. He was on Forged in Fire, and he was a judge on a show called Master at Arms. I think that was Discovery, but you'd make weapons. And he had a viral 9/11 video several years ago, and I was interviewing him after the 9/11 video. But he talked about running into somebody, of running into someone, and he's like, I think I know you. And he's like, were you on a reality show? And Trent was like, yeah. Yeah, I was. He's like, you were on Naked and Afraid. I love that show. And Trent was like, oh dear Lord. Trent was not on Naked and Afraid. Yeah, Oma loved to party. Oma loved to party in all the best ways. It was great. Dude, Kevin, my friend, you're not huge of it, fan of anything because you're small. You're SM all. uh, his name's Trent Ty. He was the runner up on the episode with the chakram. His knife broke and he did like this weird like predator axe. He just kind of threw together just to get through. And yeah, so yeah, Trent and I've known Trent for a long time. My wife went to high school with Trent. We actually both knew him separately before we got together. So he was just an apprentice who was hanging out at a knife store I was a manager trainee at. And now he's got like 75,000 subs on YouTube, makes a living forging knives and other crap. Good for him. I gave Kevin a short joke and he's doesn't seem to be here anymore. I'm sorry, Kevin. Uh yeah. Yeah, he's an old friend. It's kind of weird sometimes when you see this stuff. Uh how many like you see someone, you find out they've encountered someone in a completely different walk of life that's also somehow something you've also encountered in a completely different way. um See, Kevin, you're not alone. um no Kevin and I, we joke a lot about him being short, and he gives me shit about anything else that comes up. um but Kevin's a great guy. No, we're talking about back to the whole like people who interact that you would never imagine them having interact. One of my favorites is Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal played basketball in high school. Hilarious in and of itself, because Billy Crystal is, again, not a tall guy. But he played against this dude who was a very, very tall guy, named Lou, who he again, he ran into by virtue of playing basketball. And Lou was Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Billy Crystal played basketball against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's one of the weirdest coincidences I've ever run into. That is just fucking weird. See, Kevin's got a sense of humor. I do not understand why I have 2 commenters from YouTube, and they're saying I only have 1 YouTube commenter. Oh, now I'm showing 2. YouTube is stupid. I'm probably going to catch a YouTube ban for this, but whatever. At least the kickbots haven't inundated me today. Last Friday, man, I got hammered with bots from Kick. They were kind of clever bots too, because it took a bit, because they weren't like actively spamming. So I don't really even know what the point was, but it was annoying. Right. I heard it in a one-man thing with Billy Crystal. It's young, I didn't even remember what it was. It was years ago, so I can't like link a source. But it was hilarious to me. The idea of Billy Crystal playing basketball against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the kind of thing that would show up in a Billy Crystal movie. Okay, so it's not just me that's seeing It's weird. I got to remember to quit. See, when I click something on a comment on my end, like this one, everything kind of jumps a little bit on the chat on my end, and I got to pay more attention to that, but I'm not clicking other comments. Oh my God. I'm going to have to hold on a second. You guys got to see this shit. They age restricted a Gatling gun video on the Military Arms channel because, the Tippmann 22 long rifle Gatling gun. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? I'm so. Look, I get you don't want YouTube. I get that you don't want to have bullshit on there that teaches people how to make a gun. I get that. I get that they don't want that on their platform in case somebody uses it to do something. I get that. I don't agree with it, but I get it. All right. And it's their platform. They can do it. When you start age restricting just shooting full auto, but a movie trailer can have it, that's retarded. Are you kidding me, Kevin? Seriously, they're doing that shit? For what kind of permits are they wanting for the homecoming rally? That's just a bunch of people coming up and camping. I mean, oh, okay. Well, I get it. I'm going to miss you being here for the lives. But money is good, and I understand entirely. Back to Kevin. This is now, for the record, for everyone else watching this, Steve Shives owns Runaway Campers. He has his facility that he uses for building campers, and he has a patch of land right across the road that is set up as a campground. He once a year has an event for people who own his campers to bring their campers and camp out and meet other people who have his campers. Like a week later, Kevin and I descend upon the same place for the 2A Freedom Fest. Steve Shives, who is the owner, is a Second Amendment advocate as well. Great guy. I don't know him as well as Kevin, but he's a great guy. Last year when we were there, someone from the county showed up and started saying that he had to have a bunch of permits or everyone had to leave. We basically told him to go fuck himself. We did the event anyways, and it was a point of pride. Now they're wanting permits again. This is his property. It's not impacting the community at all, except that some of us are going there, spending money while we're there. We don't need it. They don't need anything from the county. There's no, they're not providing law enforcement. They're not providing, there's not enough traffic as of yet to need traffic control. And the exit is right by a traffic light, so it's not even that big of a deal. There's absolutely no burden on the county at all. And this is an issue. And yeah, I'm going to need to talk to Steve. Because, oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no. Because I'm willing to bet when they consider this an event with permitting, they're also going to try to make the argument that even if we're camping out there, it doesn't count as camping, and we're supposed to keep weapons concealed. Because um, cool, by all means. But yeah, I don't. That's a bunch of bullshit. The county's got no reason to demand permits on private land. It There's no profit being made. There's no burden on the city or on the county. I do not see any valid reason to demand a permit. Have Steve reach out to me, see what we can do, because I will sit right here in this chair on this camera and tell everyone in that county government, to kiss my lily white ass. Steve needs to play nice. He lives there. He has to deal with that shit. I don't. I visit once a year and don't mind telling them where to place their lips. The only barrier to that is if it's going to make trouble for Steve. But since he can go, I don't think that, I can give him some plausible deniability and I'll be happy to. And the 2A Freedom Fest is like one of my go-to events each year. We have a great time. The event itself is fantastic. It's where I've gotten to know Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets. Super nice dude. Awesome. He willing to help me out. He's offered, advice, given me some guidance when I've asked for it. Kind of helped me, navigate a few things. I've gotten to know him through that, thanks to Kevin. Braden Langley Outdoors, met him last year. Another really nice dude. Really down to earth. I met up with a bunch of other people that I've become friends with through the event. And yeah, I enjoy going. I'm not going to let some little pissant county bureaucrat fuck that up. Because see, if Steve's got to pay for permits, or if, 2A Freedom Fest has to pay for permits, suddenly you've got to start off, charging people to either come or to set up booths or anything. Right. And that's part of what I like about it. It's literally everybody getting together and chilling. Right. The vendors can just, all they got to do is show up. They got to show up and meet the criteria, which is so freaking basic. Be pro-liberty. Frankly, I don't think anybody who isn't pro-liberty would be interested in coming in the first place. It's this organic thing. It's the way things used to be. I don't mind permitting requirements when it's going to impact the community, right? You want to have a march across town and you want to say you need a permit? Sure. We need to make sure we've got traffic cordoned off. We got to make sure we've got enough, law enforcement. We've got traffic, we can direct traffic around it. There's shit that a city needs to do. For this, they need to do nothing. They've already done more than they need to do. Because we've done this for, Kevin, how many years have you done this? I've been 4. If I remember right. Or 3. I know I missed a couple. It started pre-COVID. So we're looking at least 6 years now. 7. Never had an issue. They didn't even know the fuck about it. Okay, until last year. That's how little of an issue it was. Because they didn't know this shit was going on. Of course, it wasn't always at Steve's, admittedly. That was, 2021 when that started, and it was actually he didn't have the campground yet. We actually were, yeah. The homecoming rally is just a bunch of families, people with campers hanging out. And then some of them decide to stick around for the next weekend and really wonder about their life choices. Those two poor ladies last year, I kind of feel bad for them. But one of them was in the Air Force, so she probably was used to at least some of what we did. Okay, first one was 2018. So 7 years. The event's been there for been in existence for 7 years. It wasn't always at Steve's, wasn't always at Runaway Campers, but it's been around for a while, and it's been, it's a great event. It's a lot of fun. It's low key. This year I did the 2A Freedom Fest in the NRA annual meeting. Polar opposite ends, okay? Polar opposite ends of the spectrum. NRA annual meeting was awesome because there was guns from fucking everybody. Everyone was there. I got to handle so much stuff. It was amazing. There were weird, all kinds of cool holsters and carry solutions and target solutions and training aids and optics and, high-end guns. I literally got to see the Meteorite Cabot Arms 1911. Saw it with my own eyes. And some of their other stuff. It was amazing. If I had to pick one of the two, I would still pick 2A Freedom Fest because it is low key. It's just low key. And, we talk for Second Amendment stuff throughout the day. Some of us are up there and talking about it. Kevin's definitely there. I was a speaker last year. I kind of stepped in a little bit the year before. I'm assuming you want me again for that this year, which I'm down. And the rest of the time we BS. We talk, we talk shop with other gun rights groups, and we form, I did more networking at 2A Freedom Fest than I did at or more successful networking than I did at the NRA annual meeting. Yeah, it's not even really a camera. There's no hookups for anybody unless some are like hiding somewhere. But there's no hookups. There is a really clever solution for a bathroom facility. It's Connex with toilets built into it and dividers and everything. And then shower stalls mounted on the outside. Really great solution to it. But that's the only campground thing there, except for the fact that we fucking camp there. That's it. It's okay. Well, go fuck yourself. Yeah, Kevin and we do this shit all the time. Well, like last year, we're all sitting around this big fire, and we're having an absolute blast. In part, making fun of one guy who got last 2 years, he's gotten a little shit faced and been a little stupid. Not like dangerously stupid, but he's just a guy who probably doesn't need to drink as much as he did. But then the next day we had him completely convinced he was just a complete racist jerk and had absolutely alienated someone. And it was amazing. It was the high point of my fucking day. It completely made the weekend. But yeah, it was a great time. And it's Marion County. Is that the county there? For them to try to get into it and basically just demand a pound of flesh for doing literally nothing, providing nothing except their blessing. It's fucking tribute. Yeah. Well, in fairness, a lot of us are getting shit wrecked. But there's this one guy who always seems to do a little something. Um, this last year, all he did was like we were all telling funny stories, and he just started telling stories that made no fucking sense. Like there were stories, I'm like, why? What was so interesting about that? Yeah, if that's the worst we get to deal with, that's a win. Year before, I had a bottle of Eagle Rare bourbon, and he just, I was sharing it, thinking people would not just randomly put their lips on a bottle that was someone else's, at least without checking. And he just turned the Eagle Rare up. That's not cheap drink from the bottle of bourbon. Yeah. Not good. Not good at all. We just gave him the bottle. Not happy about that at all. But I mean, like I said, that's literally the worst he does. That's how low key of an event it is. Yeah. Um, but it's a chill event. And most people that come out, they spend the day, they hang out, they chat, they listen to the speakers, and politicians are usually allowed to talk briefly. Um, it's like it's funny. Sometimes you get, some dude who shows up with a car that's, just a regular, some regular dude in a Toyota Camry, and then like, was it last year, Kevin? We had some dude showed up in a freaking bus, or is it the year before? I think it was the year before. Some like candidate shows up, major campaign bus and everything, and you're like, dude, you're trying too hard for this crowd. you know, um, yeah, yeah. There are a couple of people who are relatively well known in the 2A community who Kevin kicked out a year I wasn't there. Um, I'm friends with both of them, but they started some shit with each other, or one of them started some shit and the other one didn't back down. But it was, we're just there to support each other. We're there to have each other's back, and it's when I wrote about it at Bearing Arms, the way I framed it was that this is that time where you can get together and remember you're not alone. When you represent, when you're in the Second Amendment world, it's very easy to feel isolated. Some people in some places really do, because they're the only person they actually know face to face who's pro 2A, or they're the only person they see on a regular basis that's pro 2A. And you might see someone, here or there. They might have an odd phone call or what have you. But you get together in an event like this and you feel at home, right? I met Kevin in 2021. Paul Lathrop, who was with the Second Amendment Foundation at the time, he had a live stream podcast called The Daily Bullet, and I was a regular guest on there. And him and I think Amanda Suffolk from Eye on the Target Radio were both like, you need to come down. You're too close. You need to come down. So I did. Kevin and I started talking while we were down there, became friends right there. Right. Mike Piwowarski and I became friends right there. It's a number of people I met that day. We left as friends. That's important. And I'm not going to let anyone fuck that up. Not without a fight. I might not be able to stop it, but I ain't got to let it happen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I I want to talk to Steve. We'll have Steve on one day. That's just got to happen. Let's see what else is happening in the wide world of sports. Let's see. I'm trying to find some interesting shit to get into because we need some interesting shit to get into. Oh. Who is messaging me? Oh, check that out later. I got some DMs from some friends. Yeah. I visited Arizona and loved the terrain, but when you don't have people, it can be awkward. And then, of course, Washington State has its own issues. And the worst part about it is it's like so many other states where all of it is centered in a couple of areas. You know, it's like freaking Seattle and Olympia. Um, Screws everything up. Yeah, I've got friends who are in Washington State, and they actually were there when it before it got so stupid, and I, they're not happy about it. But that's their livelihood. Um, and it's terrible that that's even a thing. I hate to see. So I think I told you that I'm a. That's one of the areas I really, really wanted to like move, live in, um, because I just the environment just speaks to me in so many ways. Part of it's because I actually just love rain, and it's funny because I also love Arizona. No, I don't make any fucking sense. That's just how it works. Uh, but the I can't. I won't put myself in that environment. I can't do it. Especially because I am in Georgia, which has been leaning purple, but I think that's going to change soon. Um, and ultimately, I gotta live. I gotta be someplace I can actually be comfortable, even if it doesn't have the perfect environment. Now, I was joking on Twitter that I would. I was actually considering moving north of the Mason Dixon line because of how fucking hot it is. I'm getting where I don't like the heat anymore, especially with the humidity. Arizona heat is high. It just feels different. Done both. Preferred Arizona heat. Um, but I'd really rather not have to deal with heat anymore. Yeah, that's so many. That's just so many places. Stay away from the big city, and you're probably going to be fine. Um, it's like Seattle's a place I need to visit, and I've talked about that before. But I'm not. I would never live there. How my friend did that for so long is beyond me, but she loved it. More power to her. Um, But yeah, I wouldn't do it. I don't even like going to Atlanta, and that's here. Alaska. I've got a friend in Anchorage. Um, I've got friend, and I got a different friend who used to live in Alaska. Summer in Alaska looks gorgeous. I may want cool weather. I'm just not sure I'm ready for that kind of cool. Just not sure I can do it. Not sure I can do it. Ah, I thought it was a commentary on, like where you were at was not the same Washington, but that makes even more sense. Okay, it wasn't poetic; it was just hypo. Gotcha. We gotcha. We understand. We are a safe space for typos. We're not a safe space for everything, but typos, we tolerate those. We preach tolerance for typos and short people. Love you, Kev. Uh, so I need Kevin around just to have somebody to like make fun of. Um, and he'll give it back to me. That's the great thing about it. Oh. Also, while we're talking, I'm strolling a tool auction. Love my woodworking tools, and I'm also a bit of a collector, so I love to buy old tools. Oh, how much did he? Yeah, not doing that one. I hate it when you find something that's like a really sweet looking tool, but the starting bid is more than you've got, and it ain't gonna stay at the starting bid. Like, yep, nope, not doing that one. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, do they got anything cool here? Yeah, we're into shit I already looked at and passed on. Oh well. A few beers. Well, I respect that. This is also an alcohol friendly environment. Um, Short people unite at any level. I say this because I'm 5'8". I don't get to make many short jokes because I'm usually the short one. My son is like 6'3", has size 17 shoes. It's the reason we call him Yeti. Um, but holy crap, do I enjoy making fun of shorter people? Just because I don't get to do it that often. Um, Such is life. Oh. Young Americans for Liberty on Facebook. We believe the Federal Reserve is just days away from acquiring a nuclear weapon. 5'1". That is short. That is really pretty short. My wife is 5'5" though. So um she's not a towering giant either. Where the hell my son got it from? Um Actually I think Ritalin stunted me. I should have been at least 6 foot. Or that's what they said I would probably be, and that's what my dad was. Uh but I was taking Ritalin as a kid, and well, I take it as an adult too, but uh I was taking that as a kid, and apparently it causes some lack of growth. So I'm weirdly shaped. Um I've got a longer torso than I should have at 5'8". I learned that when I was doing backpacking. Let's see. Facebook is giving me lots and lots of tool related content lately, and I'm loving it. Um, the hell? Ugh. Ugh. So sharks can swim faster than humans, right? This is obvious. Humans can run faster than sharks, obviously. Well, there you go, Sarah. You understand my being perplexed. But back to the shark human thing. We can run faster than them, obviously. They can swim faster than us, obviously. So in a triathlon, it really comes down to who's the better cyclist, doesn't it? This is the shit that keeps me up at night. And no, I haven't been drinking. That's the terrifying thing. Ain't it? Oh, man. No, I just saw that on Facebook and I was like, I gotta fucking play off of that because it's retarded and so am I. Oh. Oh, great. Just we need some dipshit. So Jeff Bezos paid almost $50 million for his wedding while American citizens are having their Medicare and Medicaid benefits cut, so he gets another tax break. Oh, and I said I was retarded. Jeff Bezos doesn't pay tax the same way anyone else does. He doesn't. So this whole billionaire tax break thing is a bunch of bullshit, first of all. If they do, it makes us they can reinvest it. But even if he raised his taxes, he'd still pay $50 million for a wedding because he fucking wants to. I am so sick of the fucking jealousy the left has for anybody more successful. If you are a complete billionaire, if like you are that kind of rich, they want you to at least, they want you to live just like you were as flat broke as they are. And the reason people work so hard to acquire things is for comfort. No, most people don't give a shit about money for the sake of money. What they give a shit about is the stuff they can do with money. Now, for some people, they want to donate a bunch to charity, and that's great. It's their money. They are welcome to. And for other people, it's, I want to provide for my family. I want to make sure my family never suffers like I had to. And they do. I mean, hell, look at all the unsubscribed guys. They all had a certain level of broke in their childhood. Cody Garrett, donut operator, couldn't buy his kid Legos for fucking Christmas or his birthday or whatever. And now he's just bought a new big ass house that Brandon made a joke about being costing $1 million. I think John's fine for presents for a while. Most people do not give a shit about money for the sake of money. They give a shit about what money represents. It either represents power for some of them, usually leftists. It represents comfort. It represents security. It represents opportunity. And I am sick of seeing leftists prattle on and on and on and on about how people having money is somehow bad. Or that they're not spending it the right way. You know what? If you want to spend it that way, earn it yourself. Do something useful with your fucking time for a change. Instead of bitching and whining and moaning about how you don't have it. I don't have any affection for Jeff Bezos. For one thing, he owns Twitch, and live streamers should fucking hate that alone. But I respect the fact that he did what he wanted to with his money. My wife and I spent less than $2,000 for our wedding. We cheaped out. I don't even think we spent $1,000 for our wedding, to be honest with you. We cheaped out everywhere we could. We paid for most of it. My mom paid for the reception. Right. We paid for the venue. We got she paid for her dress. I took care of the tux. We rented the chairs because it was an outdoor wedding. We bought the decorations for the wedding. We did all of that just ourselves. And for the most part, we did have a little bit of help here and there, but we did it cheap because that's where we were at. If I'd had $50 million for a wedding, I'd have done it for my wife. I'd have just written her a blank check to do whatever the fuck you want. Make it happen. I don't give a shit that he spent $50 million on a wedding. I give a shit with him letting Katy Perry think she's a fucking astronaut. Right? That's what I blame Jeff Bezos for. Not spending $50 million on a wedding. Letting Katy Perry think she's a goddamn astronaut. I still think the reason her and Orlando Bloom are splitting up is he got sick of her talking about being a fucking astronaut. That's my take. Didn't see that coming, did you? Oh. So apparently morale is really grim at CNN. A CNN employee told Fox News, a much more successful network. That is, if that is actually in here, I'm gonna have to. Holy shit! The Washington Free Beacon literally wrote, morale is really grim. One CNN employee told Fox News, a much more successful network. Oh my god, I gotta share this shit because you guys got to see this shit. Oh, yeah. This is the most savage fucking line in the history of media. Okay? And understand, this level of snark, I wrote for the Free Beacon for a little while. Okay? Didn't quite work out. What they were wanting was something I wasn't really sure how to fit my style into. But they really try to be very much a news organization. That is fucking savage. That just, yeah, that is savage as fuck. I love it. Oh my god, that is amazing. I'm gonna laugh about that shit for fucking days. I am literally going to laugh myself. It's a good thing I peed before we started the live stream, or else I would have probably laughed and peed myself. I'd have to end this live stream to go change my shorts. Or I just freaking figure out a way to distract you for a little bit while I change my shorts. I'm really starting to rattle on a little bit. I apologize, guys. I apologize. Life is hard. Wear a helmet. I know I normally try to go to 9, but I don't think I'm going to have that in me today, guys. This week's been too much. But that was a hell of a note to wrap up on, wasn't it? Holy shit. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I will have a video out Sunday, and should be back on the regular schedule. Everything's kind of getting thrown up in a mix though, because I've got to trying to avoid some burnout. So we'll figure out from there. But for right now, I don't have any other plans. So I will catch you all next time.